Keliikuli Intuitive Soul Alignment Coach here, and I wanted to share with you for today's daily live stream show, my Fame and Fortune and Influence live stream show. And I wanted to share with you because many people have been asking me in very great detail. Just they want to know more about the akashic records, and they also want to know about just what does it really mean to have these kind of karmic invisible blocks, and just how important it is to actually clear them, and actually how complex it is to actually look into what is going on at an energetic level, at soul level. So if you're just jumping on in, just say hello, and I'm going to start sharing with you about this topic. Hi, Laura. I see some people just jumped on in. So the topic for today is I want to explain to you why the karmics, basically why the karmic invisible soul level blocks is really blowing up in your face, and what's actually going on behind this, because it's actually a little bit more complex than we really think. And then also I want to share with you just how bad it can get if you don't really deal with this right now, because if you don't deal with it, it can be actually kind of too late. And basically, how can you actually fix this through your akashic records, clearing it at soul level, okay? So first I have to share with you what is the akashic records, so just so you understand how it works. So every being, every soul has their energetic signature. It has their own energetic blueprint, and everything about what you are at soul level, everything that you do, everything that you be, even all living beings, all of that information is stored inside of the akashic records. So think of it as like an energetic library that never deletes anything, that just continuously forms information. So the best way we can describe it is like the internet. So everything that you can think about, right, you can search online. You can probably search, what a soul is, and what people's perception about it is, and all kinds of information, right? But the very specific thing I'm talking about your akashic records, there is actually kind of like a blueprint that is exactly what you are made of originally from source. And there's important information that you may want to know about your soul, about your business, and your trajectory in terms of the kind of choices that you make that may be actually interrupting your projected future that you want to create. So the reason I'm saying that is because whatever you choose right now is going to affect what you're going to do in your future, okay? But it doesn't mean that you don't have a choice. You have absolutely free will. You can choose whatever you want. But if the things that were recorded about you in your past lives, when I talk about past lives, I can even mean like 5 minutes ago, that's a past life. It can mean like 5 lifetimes ago. Like all of that is all recorded. Everything you can think of. So this is kind of difficult for us to fathom that is actually possible, right? So when we are in alignment with the way our soul's trajectory wants to be, we will notice more manifestation happens for us, more abundance happens at a physical level, at a spiritual level, at an emotional level. Everything just flows, okay? But if you're not experiencing that kind of ease and flow, that means that you're probably taking actions that is not in alignment, or is not an aligned path towards your trajectory that you want to create. It can be conscious, it can be unconscious. But the key thing is knowing that information about yourself can actually cause disruption in why you're not present in this present life. Does it make sense? Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Carolyn. Hi, Kimberly. Yeah, if you just, jumped on and just say hi so I know that you're listening. And anytime you can ask me questions, I will stop at any time. Okay, so let me go back into this because people think past lives is just only some kind of made up thing or something like that. But really, your past lives is everything that you're doing, like right now, in the future. Like everything is all like happening right now. So if you want to buy a car right now, that exists, right? Where you actually have that exact car that you want. If you think about that you want to be a teacher, then that trajectory exists right now, right? So what happens when your soul is not in alignment to those trajectories that is in alignment with your soul? What happens is you create more conflict within your soul, within yourself. So then what happens is drama happens, in your family line, in like all of these patterns start to show up, and then you're wondering why it's not working, why you don't feel really good, why you're not happy in your life, why you're not feeling peaceful, you name it, right? Aloha, Jennifer. Oh, hi, Sarah. Hi, Lakeisha. Hi, Bex. Hello, hello. Okay, so back to what I was talking about. So when your soul is in alignment, you will just know you're in alignment. But the thing is, most people think that they're in alignment just because they have more abundance and that they have it all. And maybe their expression of having it all is having the car, having, the amazing family members, or having, everything on the outside of us. We can have all of that transpire if we truly want it and we are in alignment to receive it, then it does happen, right? So I'm talking to specifically to those people that do have it all, but then there's this stuff that's missing that they're not showing what's missing. Or you may be on the opposite end of this where you don't have anything, but you do desire to have it all, right? But then there's this karmic stuff that just seems to like appear every time when you go after what you want, every time you like create, a new business model or like whatever it is. Hi, Trent. So then you start to like move towards an aligned path that you think it is, but then you later find out, oh, it's maybe not what I wanted, right? I'm sure that happens to all of us, right? All the time. So the reason why that the karmic stuff is blowing up right now is because it's something that in this lifetime, and it's specifically in our trajectory in this timeline, we are forced to choose to live a more present life, to live, a more authentic life. So if we are not able to like step into that new reality because of the patterns of our past, whether it's this lifetime or patterns of the past lives I'm talking about, what happens is you keep going around in circles, and instead of going towards your trajectory path, it's like hustle. It's like it feels harder. It gets harder and harder. And what happens is you start to get a lot of emotional, physical problems, and especially if you start to get panic attacks or you start to get autoimmune diseases, things where you don't feel like you're in control of. Does it make sense? That is when it's getting too late, and that is when you have to actually clear those soul level blocks. And I have to explain to you why that happens. So our soul has about 10 dimensional aspects that all exist at once right now, okay? I'm just talking about those 10 just because it's really what affects us right now. I'm sure there are more dimensional levels, but I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just going to talk about the 10. The third dimensional aspect is our physical body. So obviously everything that exists that's material, that's the third dimension. Then there's the fourth dimension, which is our thoughts, our emotions, our mind, our illusions, our beliefs. All of that stuff is in the mental level, okay? Then there's a fifth dimensional aspect, which is where our akashic records are. All the information, everything that exists is in our fifth dimensional aspect. That's where our past lives is. That's where information about what exists is actually there. And that's actually where we are going towards right now. We're more 5D, which is very creative our own experiences. So now we have free will and choice. Okay, sixth dimensional aspect is us being. You ever had those states when you're just completely just being 100% yourself, peaceful? There's no like thoughts, there's no emotions, just beingness. That's your sixth dimensional aspect. Seventh dimensional aspect is how you communicate with people. So the communication between you and me right now, we are actually in a seventh dimensional aspect where you're actually listening to what I'm sharing. And this is actually how we interact all the time, but we may not even know it. But when you're more in your seventh dimension aspect, the difference is that you have no ego. There's no ego involved. You just you're in your expression. You just feel really connected. There's just this bonding that just is, right? Eighth dimension aspect and ninth and 10th, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but basically that's when you are just living your divine self-expression. You're doing your purposeful work. Maybe you have it all. And then, of course, the higher aspects of your 10th dimensional aspects is when you're just connected to source and you just embody and live oneness with source. What I mean by source, I could mean by God, but really I mean the connection of your divine self-expression of who you are meant to be in your purposeful work. Okay, so what happens when your karmic stuff starts coming up? Your lower dimensional aspects, your third, your fourth, and your fifth, usually they are misaligned because you've got all of these negative beliefs that came from your body, your DNA coming from your family line. That's the third dimensional aspect. Then there's the fourth dimensional aspect, which is your mind, right? All the negative thoughts, beliefs, illusions, everything all starts to come up. And then you find yourself fighting with your head, like fighting with thoughts in your mind that really don't feel like yours. That's usually when the fourth dimension aspect like really needs to get cleared. Fifth dimension aspect obviously is going to be past life related stuff. All the information about what you were before is all stored there. So when you become more famous, when you get more money, when you become more yourself, when you become more this like seventh dimension aspect where there's no ego, you'll find that you're very you feel very like content inside, but then there's just this like nervousness, this and anxiousness that doesn't make any sense, and you start to actually feel it in your body. Okay, so at that level, what's happening is you are trying to be your expanded version of yourself, right? Sixth dimensional aspect up to 10th, you naturally are being that expression, but then your lower dimension aspects cannot be connected to source, so you're feeling it in your physical body. So, you know, if you ever heard of like, you know, when celebrities, when they become famous, they become more known, their body starts to have issues, right? They may be having mental issues, right? Some get schizophrenia, some starts getting like Parkinson's disease or things like that that starts to show up where it's like unknown stuff, right? The reason is because the lower dimensional soul blueprints are not in alignment. And then source cannot flow through like water. Source actually flows through all 10 dimensional aspects of your being, but the lower dimensional aspects cannot, cannot be its expression. So your body, mind, and your spiritual parts of yourself become so disconnected that you get even more disconnected to your body, which in response, your whole like body starts to like feel the effects. You start to gain more weight, could be one. You can be doing more emotional eating, even addiction starts to happen, maybe drug abuse. And some people may be aware of this, but then you start to feel like you're not in control over what's going on with your mind and your body connection. It's like almost like a part of you, you know, like you're doing it, but you can't really control what's going on inside of you. So inside of you energetically is loud, but even though everybody outside of you, they love you, they can show so much, you know, compassion towards you, but then all you feel like doing is hiding. You just feel like, oh my God, I don't want to see anybody. I don't even want to talk to anybody. And even though that you were doing really well, maybe you're successful in your business, maybe you've created like this amazing invention, it could be whatever it is, right? Like, even though on the outside everything looks all good, but then inside you just feel so empty. You can feel like really just like, oh my God, I don't know what the heck is happening. Do you see what I mean? Normally at that case, that is when you're at your last straw, normally. So then what you do is you go out and you go and find a solution. So maybe you go to a doctor, maybe you go to some psychics, maybe you go to some astrologists, maybe you go to all these kind of healing guide people who you think could help you, but then you find out like they don't know what the heck is going on with you, right? And you're like, I don't know what the heck is going on with me. And who knows, right? And I can tell you it's because your karmic stuff, those invisible blocks, needs to get cleared. It needs. It's not like, oh, I'm going to think about it. Let's see. It's like serious. It's like you cannot function. And when it becomes where you cannot function, even though like everybody's all happy for you, you cannot experience that depth of happiness because you don't understand what's going on, right? So I'm telling you in this way just because this is the most, when this happens to you, this is when it's serious. I'm telling you, it's serious. Sometimes we are feeling it, like parts of it, probably over the course of some years, but then you notice that it can get worse, and then you try and heal some aspect, but then it temporarily feels good, right? Maybe you got some kind of clearing from one person that felt good. But I have to tell you, when you have that much of your karmic stuff all coming up right now, it all needs to be cleared. It really actually needs to be cleared. But most practitioners only knows maybe the fifth dimension aspect. Maybe they do some kind of past life regression, or they go into like parts of your DNA and stuff like that. But there is actually your fifth, your fourth, and your third dimension aspects that is the key to having completely like when it's completely released. The only way to do it, I found, is when you go into your akashic records. And the reason I'm telling you this is because this is what happened to me. This is what happened to me. I was like this when I was part of a spiritual group. And once I left the spiritual group, I was experiencing all of these symptoms: psychic trauma, psychic attacks, couldn't sleep at night, panic attacks. My mind was going a million miles per hour. I felt like I couldn't control my mind. I felt really scared. I felt like I wanted to be invisible. I wanted to like run away from everything. And also not only me, but my family were experiencing, my son, my husband. We all had all of our karmic stuff that just really blew up in our face. And about 2 years of just like this crazy mess. And then I found the akashic records. I found out why that was. There's actually more than 34, I have only counted 34 so far, of karmic blocks that specifically needs to get cleared in order for you to actually have it like released permanently. And that's what I did for me, my son, and my husband. And as soon as I did that, it was instantaneous. All those symptoms, all those I had this extreme tiredness. I could barely get out of bed. Actually, it was really that bad. And I couldn't actually move without being in pain. It was like the pain increased tenfold during that time frame. And then once I was able to clear it, all of it was gone. I'm not kidding you, it was gone. So when I moved myself into that new experience of a new reality, I actually shifted myself into the reality of not having any of those karmic blocks. And I aligned all of my divine soul blueprints. Plus also I got in alignment with my soul's gifts. Then my trajectory of the way my soul was designed to do things started to happen. It was much easier for me to be more focused in my work. It was easy. It was just like flowing. Everything started to flow. I started manifesting very easily. All of these things all just sort of happened. But if I didn't go through the experience, I wouldn't be able to share this with you, I think, the depth of how bad it can get. But I don't want that to happen to you. It actually, it it's a part of you wants it cleared, but also you want to do it yourself. But I have to tell you, you really need somebody who's very clear, that knows those specific things, because that actually allows you to move at a faster trajectory. It actually takes me about 2 to 3 months to clear each level of those stuff. Does it make sense? But the reason I was able to do it on myself, because I learned all the different blocks, and then I was able to pinpoint what were the ones that needed to get cleared. And once I cleared each level of the fifth, the fourth, and the third dimension aspects of my past life stuff, my things that were happening in my mind, the illusions, the beliefs, the hooks and cords of specific people, and even doing it in my Dreamtime work, and then in the physical third dimensional body, right, the DNA part, once all of those were cleared, I saw that my trajectory became more positive, right? Keisha says, how can we access our record? Your access of your record actually just starts from in your heart chakra. Anybody can access it, but the ability to know what to look for, that takes discipline. It takes huge discipline. Akashic records is it's like when you Google something, right? Like if you're not specific enough, you don't get good information. You kind of just get mixed, confused information. And a lot of practitioners, when they try to go into the Akashic records and they're not specific enough, they might give you the wrong information, or just doesn't resonate to you and stuff like that. So the only reason to access your Akashic records is, number one, to know what your divine gifts are, to get in alignment to what your soul is. And number two, to clear any of your blocks that may be not misaligning you in some way, right? So, but then you have to be super, super specific, and you have to find what is the karmic story behind it and bring consciousness into it for yourself. And this is what I do with my clients. So then you have more clarity about them, right? Excellent subject to expand on. Yeah, I could talk about this all day. Champok, I hope I said your name right. Lakeisha, yes, I love this. I so want to 10th dimension. 10th dimension actually happens after you kind of go through your karmic, you clear all your karmic issues. But it is, like I said, it is a bit complex if you don't know what you're doing in terms of clearing them. I don't want to say all of them, but most of the things that are out there, they're mostly just clearing your maybe fourth dimensional or your fifth dimensional aspects, and sometimes your third. But the things that needs to get cleared, it needs to be strategically done. And that's what I usually do in 2 to 3 months. And I'm doing it like every week. I do a clearing on you every week, and then I tell you what exactly needs to get cleared, and why I cleared it, what is blocking you. Hi, Samantha. When we do service, we gain karmic entitlement. Yeah, when you do more service, you naturally actually become more aware and conscious. So the more you actually do this on other people, it does help you to clear your karmic stuff at the same time. But also you do want to be very more specific in what your what needs to get cleared. And when you start doing that on yourself, you'll see things more and more aligned for yourself. Rebecca says, I'm trying to release years of stuff within myself. I'm on a good path, but can use more tools and help. Yeah, there are lots of tools out there. And you want to find the thing that really resonates with you. And definitely for me, that's the Akashic Records. And there are lots of people talk about it, but I don't think people really understand how to use it exactly. So it can get a bit confusing when you go in there if you're really not looking for what you need. The more specific, the better for sure. Hi, Brooke. Lakeisha says, I hear that ayahuasca can help with that too. I've heard that too, but I don't always recommend using some kind of medicinal drug just because there is more. We don't necessarily have to go in a trance in order to clear our blocks. Like all I do is just I ask very specific questions. I can use my pendulum if I want to, but I'm looking at very specific things that may be blocking someone. And when I ask those questions, then I have to find out all of the stories and everything about it. But normally in some spiritual practices and some native cultures, they do that. But I don't think it's absolutely necessary to do that. Hi, Dana. Yeah, if you guys have any other questions about this, feel free to ask me now. So I think I went in detail as to why it's really crucial, right, to get rid of this. So what actually is happening is as you start to have more money, more time freedom, more like your relationships gets much more easier and more flowing. Maybe you get more fame opportunities, you get more known in your industry. Your connections starts to get more deeper. But if those upper consciousness, those upper dimension aspects are very expanded and you feel like more of an awakened being, if your lower dimension aspects, like I said, your fifth, your fourth, and your third dimension aspects are not in alignment, and you're not in alignment with your life areas, like let's say, you have like lots of money, but then you've got a lot of relationship issues, like happening all the time and sabotaging you from launching or whatever it is, right? Or you may have good health, but then like you don't have any money. These things means that your consciousness have gotten so big, but you do need to bring and ground it into your physicality. And so actually the things that are working in your life right now, you want to take what you know that works for you and apply that to that life area. And then you'll find that it's much easier to handle that part of your life. So a lot of times when people come to me, they're like, oh yeah, everything in my life is all good, but my relationships suck. Or everything in my life is really good, but my health sucks. Like I just feel really tired all the time and I don't know why. So that means that there is a part of your blueprints that needs to get either cleared, or you actually need to take actions in more alignment in those aspects and apply the things that are working for you and bring that into your into that life area. So like let's say you're good at making money, but then your relationship sucks, then that means that you need to look at what are the things that you do every day that makes it easy for you to make money. Apply the same principles that you're doing for that aspect of your life and bring that right into your relationships. And it takes some time for you to figure it out, but when you start applying those aspects in your 10 life areas, you will see that more your real life experience, more becomes your purposeful work. Like you don't feel like you're trying so hard. But this is the part when I find my clients come to me, they're at that level where they don't understand why that's not working. And it's because you can feel very expanded and very confident, right? And connected to source in your purposeful work. But if you're not like doing the things in alignment with your physical body, you start to experience it even more. So it's so important at that moment when you're feeling the health issues, the relationship issues, the emotional issues that just keep coming up karmically, you have to clear all those fifth, the fourth, and the third dimension aspects all at once, and then you will start to feel more in alignment and more confident you're doing. You feel less of the pains of the suffering that's happening in your third dimension aspect. Does that make sense? Lakeisha says this is great information. Yeah, I'm just telling you what I know. This is from experience. Sarah, how are the dimensions different than chakras, or is this kind of the same? Oh, this is different. Chakras is just our energy, right? Our energy systems in alignment with our physical body. But dimensional aspects I'm talking about, the dimensions is very different. It's like, think of it in the same way, but dimensions is at a macro level, and the chakras is more of a micro level. Like, the dimension actually happens all inside of us, within us. We're all macro and micro. That's why we see we're all connected and we're all one, because everything is within us and without us. Does it make sense? So our body and our heart and our soul just needs to feel that bigger connection to source. And when you feel that connection, that cord connection into your heart chakra, that's actually how you can access your akashic records, is when it's accessing inside of your heart. And that is where all the information, anything is stored, is in your heart, actually, in your heart chakra. That's why everybody says home is where the heart is, because it's literally where your home is. It's connection to source. Laurie says, thank you, Leimomi. I will be working with you in the future. Oh, yeah, I would love to, hear how you're doing. It's been quite some time. Hi, Carrie. Hi, Charm. Charm says, as above, so below. Yes, as above, so below. Everything that exists, it's all within us. So that's why in your akashic records, it's much easier to clear all of those blocks, because it's the macro and the micro is in us. So if we want to access that whether it's information, or we want to release those things that are blocking us energetically, there is a huge difference in how your physical body and your mind and your spirit is all connected as one. But again, when you are when your expanded self, your consciousness, your 6th dimensional aspects to 10th dimensional aspects are much more expanded, the lower dimensional aspects can contract. So when it's contracted, that's when you start to feel those weird symptoms that's unexplainable, and no matter who you talk to, they don't know what to do with it. And the reason is because those lower dimension aspects needs to be cleared, and they need to get into alignment, and they need to stack like a cake energetically, right? They need to be fully in alignment, not one blueprint. One dimension is like here, one dimension is here, and if it's all misaligned, you won't experience it in your life experience. You're just going to feel the pains of it, and that's what's really energetically happening. Hi, Daniela. All right, so what was I talking about? Okay, so again, even though you're feeling expanded and confident and you have it all and everything all seems like it's all flowing, but if your body is not, those lower dimension aspects are not lined up, you will start to feel all of those weird symptoms, those unexplainable symptoms. So this is where it's when finally you've cleared all of that, then the next level is working through all those life areas I was talking about. Your life areas, meaning your relationships, your finances, your rest and relaxation, your family and friends, so like these kind of like things that are happening energetically around you in your physical life. There's actually 10 different life areas that you really, really want to work on. And that's the most complicated part, is knowing what to do to align your physical life with your consciousness and your upper dimensional aspects together, right? Your life areas start to suffer the most, especially when you start to get those emotional and physical health issues, and then those blocks seem to like sabotage your ability to move into a positive trajectory. Then the ego sabotage starts happening, and then it starts to show up with lots of drama and actually sanity. So people start to think in a more negative way, and they cannot conceptualize the basic like rights and needs of people. They start to like become more insane. And then when it gets really bad, then that's when like schizophrenia or dementia or stuff like that all starts to happen. That means that their soul is not inside of themselves any longer, and the body and the mind and spirit is all disconnected, and that's normally when we want to leave our body. Now I'm talking about some complex things, but I have to share with you these things too. Welcoming your higher self to be involved in your life. Yes, for sure. Hi, Flora. Okay, so the solution is, it needs to get cleared. I can't say it enough because, but the complexity of what I'm talking about, it does take someone who really knows those dimensional aspects, because even though you do one clearing here, that's maybe, let's say it's like part of your DNA or something. Somebody says like they're clearing your DNA stuff, and then they clear your, I don't know, your thoughts or your emotions about something or that particular past life or stuff like that. That's why it needs to be like energetically like done in alignment, like from the fifth to the fourth to the third dimension aspects. I found like when you do it in that level, it makes it easier for the person to heal. So this is what I did to myself and my family, my friends, and my clients. Is I found if we clear those fifth, those fourth, and those third dimension aspects, and then also clear with the business, if there are any business misalignments, then for sure there's going to be a twisting into more a reality of what you want to create. And then what happens is you start to amplify the things you desire in your life. Like the things you want to manifest, they like manifest like instantaneously. So that's what's cool. Is this is what I've been doing, is I've been practicing on it myself and some of my clients, is I took what I knew my blueprints were, my soul level blueprints, and then applied that into what I desire, and then that trajectory actually happened really fast. And I call it soul aligned manifestation. It's actually a process that I created, that I found when you're aligned to your divine gifts and aligned to your desires, and you line it all up with your divine soul blueprints, and you start acting upon it within that soul aligned way, you start to actually create quickly, like manifest quickly. And that was a really good example. When I was in New York and LA, I found myself like, as soon as I had the thought I wanted this one thing, like as soon as I said I wanted to manifest seeing this person, within like a couple of minutes that person appeared either in front of me, or someone told me that person wants to meet me or something like that. It was just like really cool. And that's what I call soul aligned manifestation. So if I've had my records clear, now it's up to my choices and free will, right? Otherwise I can expect easier manifestation. Yeah, Flora. That's the next level, is you start to take aligned actions, and you start to see that the things that you want to create they do start to manifest. But depends on how much you've cleared. But the akashic records, there are a lot of stuff that needs to get cleared for it to be completely like permanent. Like I said, I normally find at least 34 to like 40 blocks and restrictions. And when I can see what everybody's blocks are, then you have to start with each level. So that's why I have the level 1, the level 2, the level 3, the level 4 clearing work. And I work towards that to like get to the deeper aspects. But it's not that it gets super, super intense. It's just like peeling each layer gets better and better, and you feel lighter, more freer, more expanded. And then you really will find that it's easier to manifest for sure. But yeah, the biggest thing is start making choices in alignment to your free will. You know, what you want to create in your life. Anybody else have any kind of questions or wondering of anything more about, you know, similar topics? Otherwise, I think I'm good with talking. I was really fascinated by this just because it's something that I embody, right? And it's part of my, you know, my story. But every time when I talk about it, it gets more deeper and gets more, I get more awareness about it. Flora says, thank you. Yeah, thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, so this is a thing that I found is there's two major things that you really need in your life. Number one is soul alignment. If you don't know what your divine gifts are and you don't know what your blueprints are, it's it's so important to know them so then you can start taking action towards your soul, towards your soul's real soul's trajectory of what you originally made up from source is what I'm talking about. When you know your primary or secondary type of gifts, you'll find that everything will just start to align. And this is actually my secret weapon, soul alignment. When your soul is in alignment to your divine gifts, it's like instant manifestation. It starts to happen a lot. Is it possible for spiritual groups to shed their karma or lessons onto a person who leaves? Yes. Yes, exactly. That's what happened to me. I was experiencing, when I left the spiritual group, I was experiencing the psychic trauma and the, what do you call it, the energetic field of that particular spiritual group. So it's any religion, even politics, all of that. I won't go into it, but like anything that you energetically connect to does affect the kind of karma that you start to create too. So this is why it's not good to be connected to any kind of specific group, because you'll find that a lot of the things that you're acting upon, what could be sabotaging it is like that past stuff. This is not only spiritual group, but this is even like your business coach. It could be like anybody you ever work with. Those are what I call your business contributors. When I do your level 4 work, I have to look at all of your business aspects, your clients, your all of the parts of your business model, right? And what exactly is in the background that's coming into your present life right now. And once that's also cleared, then they will no longer have kind of an emotional, spiritual effect on you. Does that make sense? So how I do that is I have to kind of like know their name, their first and last name, and then that gives me an idea of what kind of stuff to look for. And then I look at what is the misaligning energy. So like, let's say there's manipulation involved in there, then I would have to change that manipulation energy more into, let's say that if I needs to be more love, then you won't be experiencing the manipulation energy whenever you think about that specific person or that group or whatever that's causing that misalignment to you. You'll feel more love towards them rather than manipulation, for example. Thank you. You are very clear and a delight to listen to. Oh, thank you, Champak. Jennifer says, I left the group and all manifesting stopped like a smacking into a wall. I experienced a level of poverty that never even knew possible. Makes total sense. Holy moly. Yes. So this is what I'm talking about, Jennifer. This is what happened to me. And what's happening is okay, it's a bit complicated to talk about, but I'm just going to say very shortly. What's happening is the vibration that you were originally part of the group that they pulled you towards energetically, once you cut that cord connection to that group, which means that you were connected to that energetic field of that specific group's frequency or vibration, then when you disconnect from it, then you disconnect to source, you disconnect to that group and that group's frequency, and then you experience at a physical level like non-existent abundance, like financial specifically, for sure. This is what happens when you experience psychic trauma. That's what we call psychic trauma, or psychic attack, depending on the level of connection you have with that spiritual group. And then that cord connection, once it's cut, you're going to feel all of the opposite of the higher frequencies. And so this is why the karmic stuff needs to get cleared. So I didn't know this until I went through that experience, and And this is why I don't ever talk to that spiritual group that I used to be with, that I left, because I I was experiencing the opposite energetics of it, right? Not only experiencing it physically, mentally, spiritually, but it was like almost like a shock, right? It's like a spiritual shock. And the reason that that happens is it because you've disconnected to source and you've disconnected to that group that was holding that frequency. So the only way to get back into alignment is you yourself need to connect to your divine gifts, which is, your soul alignment piece, aligned to a business model that's aligned to you. Like if you're an entrepreneur and you're doing business, right? Then you need business alignment. You need to clear all of that karmic stuff that's connected to that group, that's connected to your past lives, and bam, all of that stuff is blowing up right now. So the only way is connect directly back to source. Then source will bring in the abundance and flow again. So that could take years on your own. If you try to just clear one thing here and there, it's not going to work. You're going to have to be able to clear all of those dimensional aspects like I was talking about. And once all of that is cleared, you'll finally be able to be your own expression. Does that make sense? Like you'll finally be connected to you instead of connected to all of these extra stuff that's what you are not in alignment anyway. This happens actually all the time. But the depth of what's happening depends on how much you have that connection to that group. And what's actually happening is you're getting back your free will. You're getting back your consciousness. You're getting back your ability to be a creator of your own experience. You're getting back your ability to be connected as a God, as God's child, and connected to source. And so when all of that finally gets in alignment with your gifts, your soul's gifts, and you've cleared all of that stuff in the background, then you'll start to manifest and you start to be able to create on your own terms. Hi, Monique. I have been experimenting with redistributing some of the joy energy that has been released during the Olympic Games and sending this energy to places that are in need of joy. Oh, thank you. Yeah, we always need to express and share that joy and love. No matter, whatever is happening around us, we always want to keep ourselves in that vibration. All right, I know I just talked your guys' head off, but this is so important for you to know. Thank you, Jennifer, for asking that question, because I normally don't share that depth into it, just because it's a bit more complicated to explain. I probably should actually just do a whole live stream on that alone. And it's something that I've witnessed within myself, and I witnessed with many people that have left any spiritual group or any religion or you name it. Everything around us is an energetic field. Even watching mainstream TV, that's an energetic field. So if it's not in alignment to your divine gifts and it's in alignment with what you desire in your life, it's so important to cut that cord, right? That connection, and really establish strongly your connection to source again. 1,000 thank yous. Oh, I'm glad this is helpful for you, Jennifer, because nobody talks about this the way I do. And I'm very, very clear about my boundaries about this. I don't help anybody unless their soul is ready for it. I made that promise to myself, unless this person absolutely needs this, then I will help them. But the level that I'm talking about, it's pretty severe usually by the time people comes to me. Just because I know what's going on. I know what's going on, the behind the scenes part of it. Blessings and love. Oh, blessings and love to you too. Hi, Milton. All right. Well, I know everybody all has to go, but I wanted to share this because it's something I'm super passionate about, and I hope that this enlightened you. Just, if you know anybody that is experiencing these kind of things, and everybody's all telling them, oh, you're crazy, nothing's wrong with you, and I'm telling you, this is real. This is actually what happens when your karmic stuff is blowing up in your face, and it's so important to clear it as soon as possible, not to prolong it, because when you prolong it, then this is when you start to have symptoms of not sanity any longer. And this is why you see that this happens to celebrities, is they go insane. Doesn't make any sense any longer because it's so painful to be in the body. And so instead they use drugs and other things to get out of the body, which affects everybody around them, right? Energetically, spiritually, everything. And then the only way that a lot of people, get past this is they just want to leave their body. And that's why a lot of celebrities, they leave very early, because it's very difficult, because they didn't know that all this karmic stuff was all blowing up. And it's once you know what needs to get cleared and it's cleared, it's done permanently. And I've done this with many of my clients, and I've seen amazing stuff happen to them, like going from like not being able to walk because it's so difficult because they don't have any energy, to having lots of energy and having amazing relationships that was bad before, and they're suddenly just like living life up to the fullest, not being functional to actually having everything that they want in their life manifest before their eyes. So, all right, well, you guys have an amazing day. And if you're really interested in any of this stuff that I'm talking about, I have my YouTube channel. I do this daily live stream show every day. If not every day, then at least 3 times a week. You can see my live streams by clicking on the subscribe, and the subscribe will just let you see my news feed. Whenever I jump online here, you can actually just see when I jump on my live stream, and then you can listen to me again. My live streams, I put it on my YouTube channel, so you can just search my name, Leimomi Keliikuli, and you can subscribe there, and you'll be able to see all my new videos and my live streams that I talk like this about. My Facebook group is Monetize Your Divine Gifts Movement. You can look that up. It's pinned to my business page also. That's pinned to this personal page here. And I will be launching some new things about soul alignment manifestation, which is my new highest level of training, where I'll teach you how to align to your soul's blueprints and manifest exactly what you desire by being in soul alignment and business alignment. And my next big things is I'm going to make a Maui retreat. Of course, I'm here in Hawaii, so you can come and see me and visit me here in Hawaii. If you would like to know more about that, just follow me. You see me. I'm pretty active on Facebook and in many Facebook groups, and so if you would like to know more about that, you can just message me. All right, well, you guys all have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you guys all very soon. Bye.